crypto knowledge, and I'm a crypto, hidden alchemist. But it was because someone had donated me on my third interview ever on a half a Bitcoin randomly. So I was like, all right, let's play with this. And I put it into a bunch of different cryptos, altcoins, and started learning it. And so I do know a decent amount, and it's starting to recover. It's like big
Are you live?
BTC. Yeah, we are live now. I do believe.
So yeah, that's a good, I guess, first question I would ask. Are you pro cryptocurrencies, and you believe that that is going to be an applicable source that we can use in the future against all of the controllers?
Absolutely, but you have to do your own research and look into what projects you're investing in, and I would recommend that you actually get involved with the project that you invest in and utilize such things as these smart contracts, NFTs, stuff for the digital artwork, as well as now with streaming and music rights as well, stuff that I'm looking into with it, and that I opened up with stating that I was donated half a Bitcoin, and then I invested it, part of it, into several other projects, and it was like at least 50% of the projects turned out to be scams that just like stole your money straight up. So it's like, have that like awareness if you're going into crypto. But the main projects, like obviously the biggest, Bitcoin itself, is like, that seems to be what they refer to as digital gold as far as currencies go. And like, as long as you keep your keys of control of your personal Bitcoin itself and don't give it to third parties that then hold it, you will not get scammed. You will have it forever, and you can restore it and bring it up anywhere in the world and use it, sort of thing. So that's like why it is the gold, but it's like, do not fall for the scams. And if you're going to like put it into another project that's going to give you some sort of interest or something, or puts it into like their own tokens and stuff, you got to be damn sure that they're trustworthy organization, that the freaking product they're doing is sound, and that the rates they're giving are sustainable, or chances are it's going to end up either as a rug pull or just failing or straight up scam.
Yeah, I agree. I would see it just as the new version of Caesar's coin, and nothing more, nothing less. I believe that it could be manipulated in many ways, and there's going to be scams. And
projects are, and so XRP, it's like there's the conspiracy that it's going to grow up huge. Maybe it will. Lots of people have made lots of money on it, but like when I first bought into crypto 2 years ago, it was like XRP was like close to all-time highs at like $1.49 US, I think, a piece. So it's like, to this day, I think I'm like maybe 50%. I don't even know what it's at, but I think it was 75 cents last time I checked. So it's like lost half on it, this major thing, but who knows? But you can see that the big coins, my point of bringing it up is like that they use their own AI bot technology on it, so that it's like they just eat away any interest that you should be making, and they like take it themselves and stuff like that. It's just,
it's totally it's manipulated. But I'm just, I'm getting a little, I wouldn't say frustrated, but it is getting a little annoying how it's promoted as a savior of our financial resources in the future. That seems to be absolutely ridiculous to me. But other than the intricate details of technology and blockchain and how amazing it is and whatnot, I don't see it as anything that will be useful in a spiritual warfare for sure, or a way to protect ourselves from our funds, which is just basically kind of fictive in itself anyway. So applying it to a tech doesn't really change anything in my view. Now, actually, I see it more manipulable now that they could pretty much put us all on an algorithm, and then I don't know.
That's the scary thing, the CBDCs, which it's like that's what they're gonna now. The institution, the governments are gonna bring forward and try to like label as crypto, new digital currency, but really it's their like social control currency.
Exactly. Bitcoin was just a hot blonde, basically, to get us all get the tech rolling, get us all linked in with our bank accounts, get us all prepared. This is just my view on it.
100%. And chances are they'll make people take the jab to qualify or do enforce other ridiculous human rights violations sort of stuff.
Can only hope.
For the basic income that they're probably going to bring forward.
Yeah. All right. Can I shoot you another question? I don't have a whole lot of time, and I don't want to take all of your time. Enslaved by Truth. I was just going to give him a few five questions, but
it's all free. It don't cost me nothing. So it's all yours.
I heard you say aliens. What is that? Yes or no? Like, first define it, and then tell me what you think that is.
So I co-host a monthly alternative propulsion engineering conference that's a lot of like anti-gravity research stuff, and then I do a lot of co-hosting shows with the Alien Scientist channel of Jeremy Reese, who hosts a whole lot of, he's like more on the skeptic side, but that interviewed such people as like Jack Serfati, who's like this 90-year-old US / Jewish / physicist guy that worked on, supposedly claims the CIA hired him to reverse engineer the Roswell crash. So it's like interview people like Eric Hecker that's worked at the South Pole several times, or in Antarctica, and in Antarctica as what they labeled the South Pole Station, to be specific, and then lots of different individuals that have claimed to experience, as well as then looking into alternative ancient history and discoveries, some of which are ooparts that have things like elongated skulls and what appear to be alien craft and whatnot in them. Specifically, this one alien carving, shout out to Mike there and all of his artifacts that he's gotten from Tulum, Mexico. And yeah, so lots of different stuff. And then the orbs as well.
Well, I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. Whenever I was an agnostic, I went down every single path possible with the orbs and the people who got probed by the aliens and all of their little stories and stuff.
Really interview the ones that claim to be probe stuff like that. More on people with like credentials as well as like evidence, and I don't know.
So what are aliens then to you? Fake, or if you believe in alien, what is that? And by definition,
anything, I guess, extra terrestrial or dimensional potentially. So
those
like,
are two big differences. Those are kind of big differences.
Like, well, I'm saying like a lot of people's experiences that interprets them to be alien could potentially be spiritual, ghosts, paranormal, angel, demon, stuff like that. Who knows, right?
So that's not an alien then. That's aliens. That's no.
Yeah, that would.
So extraterrestrials, you would perhaps see as a volatile anal prober.
Who in the what now?
An extraterrestrial.
See, I think that sort of stuff like maybe if I like ever started doing like OnlyFans like podcasts, that then we could get into people talking about being alien anal probe shit like that. But I try to keep it PG.
Sorry, sir. I'll tone it down a bit. It's already 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting a little fired up on my coffee. So aliens exist, but you think they're spirits or demons that are interdimensional?
I've experienced like ghosts before. I've definitely seen stuff in the sky that does not like fit within our modern physics, but I myself have never like firsthand encountered quote unquote alien or anything like that. So I don't know, right? It's just off of other people's testimonies.
All right, that's what I like to hear. It's just I'm also I don't know. I've also seen a lot of crazy shit. I remember we used to sleep on a trampoline my whole childhood, and we would just stay up all night looking at crazy green orbs and red orbs and crazy shit whipping around in the sky. That was always pretty crazy. That's kind of what got me addicted to a lot of the Discovery Channel stuff and the documentaries and the aliens and the elongated skulls and whatnot is from a lot of personal experience of being out there and seeing that stuff. I never saw a real deal UFO where you see the silhouette of the disc and everything, but we've had police officers where I used to live in Illinois that would basically drive around all night just to make sure that in the fields, etc. And they would come out every once, and trustable guys, just normal guys, and they were all freaked out. And my father actually knew one, said that whatever he saw was not normal, in the sky. So yeah, there's definitely something out there. I just don't know if it would be from outer space. So that was just I was wondering where you stood on that. That was a good one.
Yeah, I believe that there's most likely stuff out there, most likely visiting, probably could be here now. But who really knows until you see it and experience it and make contact with yourself. Otherwise,
do you believe in planets and stuff? Do you believe that there is outer space and planets everywhere and solar system and etc.?
Yes and no. It's like I'm in the multiverse dimension of understanding and acceptance sort of thing, and I've been an astronomer my entire life, like amateur astronomer using my own telescopes and stuff. So it's like there's stuff out there that are clearly observable, but what the heck is actually in between us and there is anyone's guess. All
right, yeah, that's where I stand as well. The mainstream narrative is obviously that they're some type of rock, that shines like a star when you look at it from here. It's kind of awkward.
To be plasma states.
Yeah, I think it's mostly plasma too. Nice.
Plasma dimension, and then also when you get to what they call Saturn, Jupiter, 5th and 60, who knows what the heck that could be. Could it be light folding in on itself? Could it be crystal, heavier densities, with heavier density life form potentially, essentially? Who knows? All right.
I'll take that. That's a good little rundown. We got the aliens, we got the cryptos, and then I guess, are you religious?
Spiritual, yes. Religious studies, yes. Believe in God and creation, absolutely. Under any one faith or doctrine, no.
Good answer, man. That's well thought through. All right. Well, I'm interested, but I'll check out your channel. That sounds fun. I really like having crazy chats. That sounds cool. I really have to start. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to get to work here. My client's gonna be here in about an hour, and I gotta act like I'm doing something. But yeah, thanks for letting me jump on, and I'm looking forward to having some fun with these with you guys in the future and listening.
Netherlands or Denmark? Where did you say in Europe?
Belgium. It's
Belgium.
Yeah, I'll keep it PG, but it's not the greatest place.
Land of the waffles. Land of the waffles.
Right? That's what they marketed as.
Now it's kebab, just so everybody knows. It's kebab waffles.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what in Europe isn't at this point? But
yeah, just the frozen part, I guess. Way up north. All right. Cheers, guys. God bless.
Blessed day.
Till next time.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate you joining tonight. That was good.
See you guys later.
Yeah, we'll see you around, sir. Appreciate you, Mr. Kunk. Mr. Kunk came in clutch tonight.
Epic Belgian American expat.
Now I want some fat ass waffles. I'm just thinking about some fat ass Belgian waffles.
Fantastic Pancake House is what they were. the place is called here.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Up in Canada, we have one. I guess that was a Holland, not Deutsch. That's, anyways. Before, what really interested me at the beginning of you and Kunk's conversation there, I shared an exact parallel experience of grade 10 or 11. It was, I think it was 10. Watching 9/11 happen live on TV and just being
Yeah,
like,
I was a
like
junior.
as I watched it, and like I've always been like mathematic physics minded person. I'm just like, that was controlled demolition. Like that was fucking wrong. Like what, like from the get go, and like from that point forward was just like, geez, it like worldview completely destroyed and flipped upside down. And then from there, immediately thereafter, you see all of the freaking chemtrails in the skies, and just like I'd be taking pictures of like, oh, there X marks the spot. Oh, there's
Right,
another. It's not X. We got 3 X's in the skies. Imagine that. Oh, it was freaking overcast. Now it's all clearing up. Oh, imagine that. Like, oh yeah, nothing to it at all.
You know, the weird thing for me, for one, like you're saying, like watching it in so I actually, the class that I was in when it happened, and I was a junior in high school, so 11th grade. And then by that time, every single classroom already had a TV in the classroom. So like, and then you'd have to watch. We used to actually have to watch this thing every morning called Channel One News.
Really?
And yes, and so the host of Channel One News was the one and only Ryan Seacrest, who later on became famous for being the host of fucking American Idol. Well,
Okay.
where he got his start was on this thing called Channel One News, which was this news thing that was broadcasted to all the school districts in America.
Well,
So
no
all
shit, he became
yes,
a freaking
right.
star.
So all the school districts
On
watched
America.
this. Ryan Seacrest was the main host, and Maria Menounos. It was Ryan Seacrest and Maria Menounos, and she hosts like some shit on like one of those fucking entertainment channels now or some shit. Anyway, so so there was a TV in every room, but the room that I was in when 9/11 started was my American history classroom.
Oh snap!
And so like I had this black teacher in American history class, and he it's so funny looking back. He reminds me of the Dave Chappelle character. Like the coach, like AA
Oh
Ron,
yes.
that guy or
Oh
whatever.
god.
But he was also a conspiracy theorist. So like I
That's
remember
awesome. That's an epic history teacher to have.
so I remember when he taught us about Pearl Harbor, he taught us the alternative history about it. And he was like,
Yep.
"So this is what the book says, but let me tell you what really happened." He's like, they already knew that attack was already going to come. They allowed that attack to come, and they
This is
allowed
why
it
most
so that
of the fleet was out that day.
right. They allowed the attack to come so that we could get into the war and all this kind of shit. And that was always like put into my head. And I remember in his classroom is the day that we're watching this. I remember sitting at my desk, and the TV comes on when the one tower is smoking, and then the TV comes on. Everybody we're locked down. Everybody's forced to watch the TV. They made all the TVs come in and turn on in all the classrooms and watch the live coverage. And I remember that watching the TV, the one building smoking. I remember looking back at the teacher at his desk and then turning around, and it was when they showed the other plane.
That other one came. It was just like, what?
What the fuck? Right. And then we watched in that class. We watched the building go. Okay, so the rest of the school day was weird. But like what you're saying, the one moment that stuck with me for my entire life, we got out of school that day, and going outside into the parking lot and looking up in the sky. And it was the only time I remember ever looking at the sky, and it was like nothing in the sky.
Quiet, yeah.
Not a single airplane, not a single cloud, nothing. It was like unbelievable. And I remember, and it was crazy because me and my best friend, who was a senior, this guy named Blake, we went right after school. We used to always go to this place that was called Blue Moon Pizza Buffet or some shit, right? Like where it was like a, it was a pizza
cool
buffet.
hangout. Yeah.
A pizza buffet, right? You go in, it's like fucking $6 and you can eat however many pizza any kind of pizza you want or whatever. And that's not some kind of Illuminati pizza reference that I'm making. but so in the place they had this they had this big screen TV in the corner with the news on after we went in there and then I remember that day right off the bat it was, well, Bin Laden is behind this and all this.
Right?
Kind of
Yeah.
shit. And I remember sitting there like, how they already know who's behind it. They don't even know what happened yet. They don't even know what the fuck happened yet. How could they possibly know that this Bin Laden guy was behind it? You're telling me they already knew he was going to do this? Why didn't you guys fucking stop him or something? You know what I mean? It was like, it was just fucking...
Yeah, I was like already like looking into like Tesla conspiracy stuff, different fringe science stuff back then, and like so I was on the conspiracy sites, and it was like I just remember that day watching the clips of the dancing Israelis and like all of the news clips of like the Israelis, and then they started playing the Tower 7 stuff, and it was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I've got a box of all the like newspapers like from that, and I've got a box of all the stuff from the last 3 years, all the newspapers from the last 3 years. I want to do a stream where I just like trim out like parts of the newspaper and like make a collage for the last 3 years with the pandemic and everything. I think it'd be great just to watch how much the propaganda is fed to everybody. I think it'd be cool, but but like that moment though, looking up in the sky and not seeing anything in the sky, for whatever reason, that was burned into my memory, and like that's what I feel like from that day. I always watched the sky, and then it's like that's when I started noticing fucking chemtrails and shit, like. God. And then I just got to where like I couldn't. I got so bad with it. I was obsessed with it. Like
they grounded the entire fleet after that, and it's like then they started appearing. I wonder if they like actually like implemented it around that during that time.
Yeah, it'd be crazy to know. I got so obsessed. People would think I was crazy because I would be driving to work, and I bought like a camera to like always be able to like, keep all the pictures of it, and like before like camera phones were really good or whatever. So like I had a camera and everything, and then I would go outside at work, and every time I'd go outside at work, I'd be taking pictures of the sky, and everybody'd be like, "Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Do you not see that there's obviously something happening in the fucking sky right now?"
Right, like. Yeah. Doing fucking circles around us with X's in the middle.
But and still to today. And then I got obsessed with a NOAA radar, and then I would take pictures, and then I would compare my observations to like the radar images, and then like I could coincide. I wish I still had all this shit still cataloged, but I would be able to see when I would see the chemtrails in real time, and then I'd be able to see them on the radar images as well.
I literally took this a few days ago while driving home from work. You got X marks the spot in the middle. Yeah. Chemtrail naughty confirmed.
Yeah, they've been going hard the last couple of days here. It's calmed down for the last.
But you can see that there's literally. Oh, if it'll actually focus, come on, focus. Maybe it will. It's like they do 2 X's over top of each other. They keep hitting the same spot.
Mm-hmm. Well, and usually it's always like where the sun. They do it where the sun's setting. So they lay them out above, like where the
The
sun's
sun's
tracking.
clearly setting right there too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Abbott knows what I'm talking about. Especially for several years, it was like every day not every day, but almost every day they would need to cover up there was a certain time of the day when the sun would reach a certain level where they needed to have a certain amount of chemical haze in the sky to hide, because there would be one light source and there'd be another light source.
They're using X's to block out Planet X.
There you go.
How ironic would that
Elon knows what it's about.
Elon
That's
does.
why I renamed it X. Next year's X year is when it's all going to come about, right? 24.
Damn.
And then the X eclipse, the Great American X eclipse. Where's my guy 607 Smith? He knows all about it.
Right?
It's coming.
Where's Agent Smith on this?
It's coming. He knows what I'm talking about.
You should actually bring that up. Let's look at some occult action.
Some occult action. You know what I did want to bring up though, real quick, while we were at it, because you guys were mentioning it for a second there. There's this great podcast that I've been listening to, which is probably kind of normie, but
normie could be alright. Normie trends.
But that's okay. Hold up. Yeah, here. Hold on. I'm StreamYard retarded. So this channel called Zach Reciter, he has this podcast series called The Darknet Diaries. Ooh. And he recently did this interview with the hacker that's known as Default, who is one of the like top hackers. And like he hacked the Pentagon, he hacked the CIA, like the director of the CIA, all this kind of shit. And it was super cool because you guys were talking about the security of crypto wallets. And he's an ethical hacker, so he never did anything necessarily like that would hurt anybody. He like even the headline here on this stream is that they hacked into the Oxford University student registry, and they deleted all the student debt out of the yeah. So like the university no longer had any evidence of who owned what, and so
you should play a bit of this. Let's hear it. This sounds freaking epic.
So, but he also hacked into all the cold storage wallets and stuff, and could have easily like transferred all the money into his account, but he decided not to.
Each of these have their own story, and I've listened to him tell me some of these himself, and they're insane. And I'm sorry I can't include them all here, but I do want to stop at the Facebook login exploit he had.
I became kind of obsessed with like having the tightest OPSEC that I could have, because I didn't ever want to get caught, obviously. And that kind of led to my arrogance also of being able to literally, I got to the point where I thought I'd never be caught no matter what I did. And that just opened the door for doing anything like hacking wise. Like I didn't care if it was like Facebook or Twitter, which we had a 0-day on and could access anyone's account.
What they did was get a Facebook username and then try to log in as them, but then say, oh, I forgot my password. And at the time, Facebook would then send you a 4-digit code to your email that you had to type into the site to prove it was really you. Because after all, if you had control of the email that was registered to this user, it must really be you, right? Well, it was a 4-digit code, which means there's about 10,000 possibilities of what it could be. And these guys learned that they could just keep submitting codes to Facebook over and over and over, cycling through all the possible 4-digit codes until they found the one that worked. And they could do this pretty quickly too, and just reset anyone's password that way, and then log into Facebook as them.
I mean, we got into big accounts. Like I got into Seth Rogen's account, got his cell phone number and called him just to tell him that like I love his movies. And he was like, who is this? And I was like, I'm just a big fan. Like, you're hilarious. And he was like, Click. Completely deactivated his cell phone like 10 minutes later. Cardi B, before she like really blew up, Chief Keef, which he was like honestly really cool about, because we gave him the account back. Like, we gave all these people the accounts back. Like, we had no malicious intent. It was just fun. It was like a challenge.
So while all this started out as fun and a challenge, over time it morphed. I mean, how can one feel this kind of power and then watch the news and see everything wrong in the world and decide not to use this power to make change? I mean, it really is like a superpower to just topple over a computer or get inside a system that isn't yours. With great power comes great responsibility, right?
I think it was the Snowden release that just like kind of like set me off, where he was talking about the prison program and how literally it's not a conspiracy that people have been like saying the government is spying on everyone. They're like, oh, it's like, nope, actually, if you could see here through these very classified documents that they are literally dragnetting every single packet in the United States, and they've co-opted all of these companies through the PRISM program, and all of your data is ours, and we're building a giant storage facility to keep all of this forever. So if you ever become a potential threat to us, we'll know everything about you. So it really just set us off and kind of just gave us this mentality like, okay, so basically you're hacking all of us. So we're going to start targeting y'all and start showing that we can do to y'all what y'all are doing to us also, and that nobody's immutable. And we drove that point home very hard. Like, literally sat around and came up with lists of high level individuals in the intelligence community, and then just started targeting them one by one.
What? What the hell? They made a list of people to hack into that were high-profile members of the intelligence community? This just went up to 11. Okay, at this point, I mean, I'm fascinated by this because I'm always surprised how high-profile people in government pretty much dox themselves, right? They give their real name and talk on TV, and they have a phone number to their office, email address, physical address. All this stuff is public information. We know who their boss is. Chances are there's a Wikipedia article on them listing all this, or there might even be a whole biography written about them. And yeah, I always wondered, doesn't that make them extremely vulnerable targets for attacks? I'm so glued to the story right now. Okay, let's back up a second. At this point, Default has left AnonSec, which didn't affiliate itself with Anonymous at all. And in fact, they were anti-Anonymous, but Anonymous seemed to get credit for everything they did since it was called AnonSec. So he was sick of that and left. But he knew people in this little pocket of the internet. And a group that he thought was doing some cool shit was CWA. And this stood for Crackers with Attitude. And the head of CWA was a guy named Kraka.
Started talking to him, and we just like, we're on the same page about being really pissed off about the government, and also a lot of the things going on in like the Middle East, just a lot of injustice in the world. Just kind of just like pissed off, you know. I wanted to like direct that somewhere for like a greater good, as it were.
So he starts hanging out with these folks from CWA and joins in on their hacktivism.
And that ended up being exposing the lack of security within our own government. We are very vulnerable, and the people running the show are not practicing proper operational security whatsoever either. So we're going to show the world this. And it was actually really easy. Like, it was not super advanced. Most of it was just social engineering, and then taking that initial social engineering information we gathered and pivoting and leveraging that information.
Who was one of the first ones you targeted?
It was James Clapper. Yeah, James Clapper was numero uno. And he's the director of national intelligence.
What the hell? This would be a strong no for me. I would be out. You can't attack the head of U.S.'s intelligence agency like this and expect everything to be okay. I mean, I don't care how good your OPSEC is. Hide behind 5 VPNs, use your neighbor's Wi-Fi, use Tor, move to an underground bunker. It doesn't matter. If you make it personal, they'll make it personal. They will find you. But at the same time, Default was seeing stupid stuff on the news. Listen, this is James Clapper.
What we do not do is spy unlawfully on Americans, or for that matter, spy indiscriminately on the citizens of any country. We only spy for valid foreign intelligence purposes as authorized by law, with multiple layers of oversight to ensure we don't abuse our authorities.
The Snowden leaks clearly proved otherwise. The NSA was grabbing metadata off of millions of Americans' phone calls. This is spying on regular.
And Default's OPSEC was like super crazy. The dude had a Wi-Fi satellite dish, and he would tap into random like Chick-fil-A Wi-Fi's from like 20 miles away from him before he'd even dial in. He still got caught though.
Good standing Americans. And to hear James Clapper say otherwise meant that some were accusing him of criminal perjury, lying under oath. This enraged Default and Kraken. Our leaders were caught in a lie. What more can we find on them? But Kraken was the one who acted on this. I believe he acted alone, actually. Kraken got into the online account for James Clapper's internet and phone service. Somehow, from there, he was able to get Clapper's wife's social security number and posted that publicly. Then he routed all the calls coming into James's phone to a free Palestine hotline. Kraken posted proof of all this to Twitter.
I gave him a head nod. Like, dude, that was a sick hack. Like respect. Like, started talking to him. I was like, that was awesome. You really exposed this guy.
James Clapper was actually not the first person from the intelligence community that CWA hacked into. Their first was Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson. Kraken got into his Comcast account somehow, and Default was seeing all this and chatting more with Kraken.
So we just started to like actually sit down and think of different people that we should hack.
Together, they teamed up. And, well, you know what? I'll just let Lester Holt from CBS News take it from here.
Good evening. Did a high school student really manage to hack his way into the personal email of one of this country's top spy bosses? Federal agents are urgently trying to answer that question tonight after what appeared to be private and possibly sensitive information was posted online. Given the high profile of the target of the attack and the relatively low-tech method used, it's both a disturbing and cautionary tale that NBC's Pete Williams picks up from here.
The apparent victim isn't just any American or government official. It's John Brennan, the CIA director since 2013 and a longtime key player in the U.S. intelligence community. A man who says he's an American high school student claims he hacked his way into Brennan's personal AOL email account by fooling Verizon and AOL into revealing enough information to reset the account password. Hello, guys. This Twitter account is going now, the apparent hacker says, posting what appears to be an actual spreadsheet of names and emails of current and former intelligence officials. The hacker blanked out their social security numbers. The hacker also says he got into the Comcast billing account of the Homeland Security Secretary, Jay Johnson. This was the personal email account of Brennan, not his government account, and it appears no classified information was compromised.
Okay, so tell me how you got into John Brennan's account.
John Brennan's account, if I remember correctly.
Okay, you know what? I'll help you out. I mean, the year was 2015. Who remembers little details like this from 8 years ago? My research shows that they first found John Brennan's mobile phone number, and they did a mobile number lookup and discovered he was a Verizon user. So, time to put on the ruse. They were going to call up Verizon, pose as a technician on site, trying to help out a customer, John Brennan, but for some reason were having trouble. So they called Verizon, asking for help on his account. Verizon is like, what's your employee code? They made one up, and it worked. The support technician at Verizon asked, well, why can't you just get into the account yourself? And they said, the tools are down, and we need to get this going quick because the customer's waiting. So the support technician was like, okay, sure, I'll help. What do you need to know? And this is how they got John Brennan's Verizon account number, his 4-digit PIN, a backup mobile number to his account, the email associated to his account, which was an AOL email, and the last 4 digits of his bank card. Now that they had this extra information on him, how can they leverage that to take this a step further? Well, they know his AOL email address, which when you log into AOL, the username is the email. So they had John Brennan's email username, but not the password. Well, time to call AOL. So they called AOL, this time acting like John Brennan. Hi, I've been locked out of my email account. Can you help me get back in? Sure, Mr. Brennan, but I'll need to verify it's you. Okay. Can you tell me the last 4 digits of your credit card number? Why, yes. Yes, I can. Because they had this information from the data they got from Verizon. Clever, clever. And so when they gave this information to AOL, this let them reset his password and get into John Brennan's AOL email. On October 12th, 2015, they gained access to the inbox of the director of the CIA. Whoa. They started looking through his emails, reading one after another, looking at attachments sent. One attachment had a list of U.S. intelligence officials, which included their social security numbers. Why in the world was John Brennan using his AOL account to send emails that included social security numbers of U.S. intelligence officials? This is such bad OPSEC. Why, director of the CIA? Why? You know better. I think it just goes to show that no matter how much you know about privacy and security, we're still human and screw up this whole security thing.
This AOL email account had not only like stuff about the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, like I have no idea why. He also had his SF-86 form in there.
Ooh, this is no good. The SF-86 form is the form that you fill out to apply for secret clearance, which means it has your entire background listed clearly.
Yeah, here's where it gets kind of crazy is because they're able to access everybody in the government's FS-86 top secret security clearance forms based off the CIA director's AOL password.
Just crazy.
And then it gets even crazier because there's this thing called, I learned this from this stream. There's this thing called JABS. JABS, JABS, Joint Agency Booking System. Oh. So anytime you get arrested in the United States,
you get JABS.
You get put into JABS.
Shit. Wow, just blew my double JABS.
Yeah.
In the form, social security number, email address, telephone number, place of birth, aliases, passports used, prior addresses, names of your neighbors, what school you went to, your military history, past employers. It's everything on a person. And now Default and Kraka had it all.
So like you call to reset password and it does not matter if you sound like a 14-year-old girl on the phone. You got the CIA director's social, like you have to be him. I mean, I don't really have a choice but to reset the password for you. It was over.
Unreal. And Kraka's just posting this stuff straight up to Twitter as Kraka. And it wasn't just these two guys in CWA. There were some other members there for the ride, but Default was suspicious about one of the members in CWA.
He had somehow eluded capture when he was involved with other groups that mysteriously went down after he had joined them. also there's a lot of psychological flags, like red flags. It's like trying really hard to befriend us. You know, it was kind of like weird, kind of obvious. And then when I actually like publicly called him out, he became a completely different person. And that was just another confirmation. It is hard to understand, you know, fully my train of thought of thinking that we would get away with this. But after some time, we knew that we weren't going to get away with it. So we just like mashed the gas. And we're like, you know, let's hit as many as we can before it's over. And it did, like, really, they had to issue a memo because they were probably terrified because it was vast. It was like upwards of like 10 or 11 people, all within like CIA, FBI, White House, DOJ, Department of Homeland Security, Quantico, and then defense contractors. So it was pervasive and, you know, far-reaching to like all arms and subcontractors of the intelligence community. To like, they were like, what is going on? Yeah, we're actually like calling some of these people too, by the way. I called John Brennan on his cell phone. Like,
What'd you say to him?
I told him he was a piece of shit.
Wow.
And he asked how much money I wanted. And I said, I don't want any money. I want you all to stop being so corrupt and committing crimes while prosecuting people for the same stuff y'all are doing. Like, so hypocritical. Like, basically, like, y'all are awful people. Like, really. Like, you're not doing any net positive things for the world. You're just not. And he was, like, audibly, like, shaken up. I could hear it in his voice.
Well, I mean, just a random phone call is not going to be that big of a deal. But did you say, I've also got access?
It was his personal cell phone number. We read him his social security number to him. You know, if you get a random phone call on your private cell phone number that nobody except for a select few people is supposed to know about, and some random kid reading you your social security number, I would imagine it's a pretty jarring experience.
They were so relentless that people started going into hiding.
At the time, the threat level was literally unknown. He was very stressed out. It's like the extra security they had to hire to relocate the CIA director and then the deputy director of the FBI to a secure location because they didn't know at the time what the threat level was. They had no idea who we are, what we were affiliated with, what our purpose was. We were some kids, literally, and just pissed off at the government, but they didn't know.
At some point, they got into Amy Hess's account. She was the FBI Executive Assistant Director for Science and Technology.
Like, once you log into the portal, you can see the connected TVs. And honestly, it's like, I think it's hilarious because I think it reminded me.
Okay, so this coming up part is fucking crazy. Yeah, listen to what's coming up here.
Like something out of a movie, like Hackers. So we played that movie.
I think what they did here is they called up Comcast pretending to be her and get her password reset. And yeah, it worked. And once they got in her Comcast portal, they were able to control her TV at home. And they just started playing the movie Hackers on it. This is a problem with connected and smart devices. You're not the only one who can control them. Amy claimed she suffered from psychological damage from this. And once they got into someone's account and messed around there, they just went down the list to the next person.
In case you missed it, so you remember the Biden Circle Back, the lady that used to do Biden's press conferences? And she'd always be like, well, we'll circle back on that or whatever. They hacked into her private TV at her house and started playing the movie Hackers. And in specific, they played a scene from the movie Hackers, which is crazy that movie came out so early on. And, you know, Jen Paskey, yeah, they hacked into her TV. So the movie Hackers came out way before any of this shit was really, like, I guess actually even really possible. But and then so there's a part in the movie Hackers that becomes kind of the manifesto of the group that becomes known as Anonymous. And then so this guy Default, that's his hacker name, Default. He's involved with Anonymous early on, and part of the story that we skipped ahead is that he thinks Anonymous is cringe. He kind of gets out of it. He starts joining other hacker groups and stuff. And then what's funny is the way that he got into hacking is that he was playing Xbox and got into a fight in a chat room or some shit with some person on Xbox. And they said, well, I'm going to dox you or hack you. And then he got doxed and hacked on Xbox. And that's what provoked him into learning how to be a hacker. And then he becomes one of the most prominent hackers of all time in the most recent years. I mean, this guy's responsible for so much information coming out. So much of his information, though, which is where it gets weird, is like he talked about the head of the CIA earlier, right? Where he doxed
Brennan. It's like,
yeah.
How have I never heard of this? This is such a ridiculously huge scandal. This is insane.
It's huge. Yeah, this whole podcast blew my fucking mind, dude.
This should have all been terminated. This is freaking nuts. And this Default, he's the key to verifying or figuring out what the heck is up with that Monty guy. If he was actually,
I'm sure he knows about it. So it goes in. I don't know if it is still coming or if I already skipped ahead a bit, but he joins a group that are specifically against pedophiles. So they start an entire hacker group that's trying to hack into people's stuff to be able to find them with CP, and then turning over the information to authorities because they consider themselves to be ethical hackers, right? So they're and they all hate child abuse and pedos. So he joins one specific group where their only main mission is to dox pedophiles. It is also part of this. This whole podcast, like this whole, this is probably one of the best ones out of the series.
Nuts. Let's keep going.
Keep going. It's so good. It's so good.
Jenny Psaki, the White House spokesperson, I took that up on myself because she was calling Edward Snowden a traitor, and that triggered me so hard. I was like, I have to hack this lady. Like, I know that maybe these aren't her words, and she might just be reading off of like a sheet that they want her to say, but like, I couldn't stand to hear that kind of stuff.
So these guys were just ripping through all these high-level people's accounts. It was insane, the people that they were able to breach. But at some point, the two started talking and realized, wait a minute, we have all this information on U.S. intelligence members. What databases do they have access to? And this turned their attention to LEAP, which stands for
the Law Enforcement Enterprise Portal. It had the information on all FBI agents in the United States, like personal information.
So somewhere in all this, they hacked into Mark Giuliano's accounts. He was the deputy director of the FBI. And using his information, they were able to leverage that to get into LEAP, which I think is really taking this to another level. To basically pose as the deputy director of the FBI to access a database that only officials should have access to? I don't know. This just seems crazy to me that this can even happen. Because why is this LEAP database even accessible from the internet at all?
Yeah, and I think because they have agents all over. They could have taken security measures, but I think it would have been too much trouble for them. I'm like, y'all just like really don't care. Like,
that sentiment right there is what I think fueled Default to go further. This idea that the U.S. thinks that there's an elite hacking.
That no punishment or freaking like this wasn't even publicized, right?
No,
like,
he went to jail for 4 years.
But like it wasn't like covered.
No, nobody knows. No, yeah, this wasn't a mainstream story about who this guy was, but
this is a major scandal. Like, these people should have all like lost their jobs. Like, we're the highest fucking intelligence officials of the time, and all got clowned by two freaking high school kids. Like, this is absolutely like amazing, hilarious, and ridiculous. And it's a repeat of like the Gary McKinnon. Also, it is like, I believe he was in high school or just out. No, he was underage. Yeah, he was still in high school when he got into the DoD, Department of Defense, as well as now.
Yeah, when I listened to this, one, I was blown away, like how I didn't already know about this. Like how and like how is this not like a main, like how do why are not truthers talking about this?
And the fact that these same individuals, like every single person that they've just listed, that they were able to get into their stuff and use against them, that were like the most powerful freaking spy leaders of America, and that they're all the same ones that wrote that the laptop of hell is Russian propaganda. These same identical people. Like,
okay, but so here's where I go even conspiratorial over this conspiracy, is that all the shit that Default allegedly hacked and put out onto public notice, it's all on WikiLeaks still, and within the first couple Google searches, you can pull up all the information that he talks about on this stream. So you can pull up all of Brennan's information. You can pull up all these other top secret forms from all these other FBI individuals. It's all still allowed to be on Google via WikiLeaks. So it's so they never actually even plugged the hole on the OPSEC. So is this done on purpose, or is the intelligence agencies really just this inept that they don't even care? I mean, because for the most part, it's probably they don't even really care. Yeah, and that's even what he's saying. He goes on to talk about that LEAP system. And they're right. A lot of these interagency government systems don't need to be on the internet. Like, they could be on an interweb or intranet kind of different setup. They don't need to be in the internet. They don't need to have access to where somebody can backdoor into it or steal somebody's password and get into it. Like, it shouldn't not even be like that. I mean, like. And then even when he gets into this jabs thing where you can pull up anybody's information, it's really insane. I'm going to let it play for a minute. And
force able to break into anything and steal anything, yet has a database of FBI agents' personal details on a public website, which is vulnerable to a teenage social engineer to be able to get into it. They wanted to put their thumb right in the eye of the government and make it hurt. How can we trust you with our private data if you can't even protect your federal agents' data? Why is the Department of Defense hacking into things instead of defending their own network? On top of that, why is the world even like this at all? Why is security so bad everywhere that the intelligence community can't even secure their own stuff? So Default and Cracker got into the LEAP database and downloaded all the information they could on as many FBI agents as they could. Okay, but what are you going to do with this?
You know, hit up WikiLeaks, and it was Julian at the time running the account, and he was very interested in it, obviously, as he always is. And it happened very fast. You know, just handed it over, and he published it all, including his SF-86 form and the documents about the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, along with the LEAP data. Is still on the WikiLeaks website, if I'm not mistaken.
The CIA director's personal emails posted by WikiLeaks after cyber criminals said they'd broken into his AOL account.
I don't think WikiLeaks posted any of the stuff from the LEAP database, but they sure did post John Brennan's information. They got into other databases too.
JABS, the Joint Agency Booking System. Everyone that's put into that from county, state, and federal level in the prison system.
Yeah, okay, so any person who's put in prison is in this system. And they found access to this very useful. They were doing things like looking up other hackers that were caught and keeping an eye on them, like trying to figure out, did they become informants? But also they were suspicious of some of the other people in CWA, and there might be an informant within them. So access to this system was kind of like a way to run a criminal report on anyone you wanted. Very
Okay, so it's so fucked up. So
Found it.
So they're dropping the storyline here a little bit, and it's so fucked up how Default gets caught. Okay,
Just quickly hop over to mine for a sec.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So boom, right there. WikiLeaks, CIA director. Boom, here
There it is.
Pop.
Yeah. So the way that, that's everything that they pulled out from that. All, in case you guys missed it, all they did was call AOL on the phone. They had hacked a few critical parts of his information, called AOL on the phone, got them to change the password, and they were able to go into the CIA director's email, and for some reason he was getting classified emails sent into his AOL fucking account. AOL.
Right,
why does the CIA director not have a secure? Why does this?
All of Hillary's server, like her whole server, like it's so insane and ridiculous.
Right.
How like
it makes no sense.
Oh my god, it's painful how hypocritical, stupid, retarded, and in jail these people should have been and be.
And these guys are literally high school kids.
Yeah.
When this is happening, literally high school kids. Okay, and then so this gets to their immaturity though. This is the way that Default gets caught, is that he decides to fuck around with somebody else's girl within the community.
Oh.
And then so the dude rats on him.
Snap.
Because Default gets drunk. He goes and plays on Xbox with these other guys in the hacker community. Then he admits, spoiler alert, he admits to being the one that hacked Brennan's email. And then so that guy's mad at him for fucking his girl.
Friend.
Yeah. And then so he rats to the FBI, and that's what sets off the whole thing. He probably would have got away with the whole thing.
Yeah, he probably would have brought down the whole government. This probably would have gone public and into a huge freaking scandal. Like, my God.
Well, and then so the fucked up thing is like, so I think by this time, I don't know exactly the timeline, but so this guy Default.
We still got to play more of this. We got to finish this off.
Yeah, we're going to play more, and but I'm just going to preface it because it connects to what we were talking about earlier. So, but this guy Default gets in early into Bitcoin mining. So he has built up all kinds of rigs, and he bought all like the hardcore processors that were originally, I don't remember the exact one.
This Default got dollars. BTC.
By the time he gets caught, he's a multi-millionaire. He's got a hard drive on his desk worth millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin by the time he gets caught. And not even stealing it. Like I said, he was able to hack into all these.
They're ethical hackers, this group of people.
Right. He never stole a dime. He did steal money.
So it was one of the boys in the hood that narked on him, not like a hacker guy that narked on him.
Well, no, it was one of the hackers it was one of the other guys in one of the groups that fucked him. Well, he talks about it earlier. I'm going to let it play.
You gotta bring that up. EBT, you gotta put it back on screen.
I just become very disillusioned with people's complacency and their lack of care for what was going on. So it's like, we're going to bring attention to this with like chaos and mayhem.
So what happened to the police department? Now we got your motive. What did you do?
Oh, well, we dropped their docs pretty much.
This time it wasn't WikiLeaks, though. I'm looking at a tweet here, which has a link to Pastebin, and then there is a list of 80 Miami police officers. Their name, title, phone number, and email address.
Like me and Crack are talking, and we're like both like physically like shaking because it's like terror and excitement at the same time. You're like, I'm accessing a top secret database. Holy shit, I'm going to get caught. But this is exhilarating. I don't really like, it's like, what do I do? It's like, okay, we're going to drop this database. Okay, what else are we going to do? It's like, I'm about to get the fuck off this thing.
At the time, Krakow was just a teenage high schooler, but Default was in his 20s.
Yeah, I think I was like 23.
What was home life like?
It was terrible, really toxic. You know, I lived with my dad. Living there was really bad, which I think kind of like fueled some of this. Just like no oversight, no real father figure to like tell me what to do and what not to do. So it was just like, bets are off. I do whatever I want. Really, it became like my whole life. Hacking really did. It was like, go to work, come home, hack. Go to work, come home, hack. It was just all it was. It got to the point where I like estranged myself from all my friends. And they didn't know why. Because I never told them. And, you know, you can't. That's just part of it. It's a very lonely existence. You know, especially if you're like committing all these crimes. At that time, I had a significant amount of money in Bitcoin. And I really just, that was actually a key factor in like all of this. Like money was no longer an issue.
Beat up moral justification of taking the other guy's girlfriend.
Several $1 million.
Talk about that then. So how'd you get those several million?
Literally mining and buying since 2011. I was so early to getting ASICs. And I was like, oh my God. And these things were like 30 to 40 times more powerful than the average graphics processing unit at mining Bitcoin. So yeah, started mining a lot of Bitcoin.
So John Holdren, I have written down here that someone tried to swat him.
Yeah, not me. I have no idea. I don't even remember him getting swatted.
So the idea was posing as him to call the police from his phone.
The police shit.
And then saying there's a violent incident here, and then them coming to his house.
Dude, that pissed me off so much that even got attributed like somewhat to me, because technically a conspiracy is if I know about someone committing a crime and don't instantly go tell on them, I'm complicit. So it's like, because I was in the chat room with one of the people while they did this, now I'm a party to the crime. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't even want to be a part of the swatting. I hate that shit. It's people have died from that.
There was some sort of current. There was an undercurrent of people online at the time, right? That you were mixed up in. That was also,
honestly, based on listening to that, I feel like he probably was involved with that swatting, but I don't know for sure.
Very involved in this sort of thing. Talking about Anonymous, for example, right? Anonymous was always calling out injustices of the world and threatening this and that because people were just being evil. And it felt like being part of that was the winning side, right? It felt like
you're doing what's morally right.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that exists today. I think today we've kind of lost that pulse.
The empathy is at an all-time low. Just like caring for your fellow man and like the bigger picture. But people have just become very complacent and would rather just like be content with the way things are. And that's a dangerous road to go down, because while that's going on, I can assure you that the NSA and, the Five Eyes and all these other people that are colluding together are not being complacent. They're actually, getting more aggressive with the spying and the hacking. And I think it was like Rule 41 passed, where it's like they can just like literally hack people now. Like they don't need to go physically kick in your door. Like, no, they can just hack you. And I'm pretty sure that's how I got caught, is that the NSA got involved. And I know I got hacked 2 days before I got raided.
Well, let's talk about that. So how do you think how did they catch you?
It's threefold. There's three things that contributed to it. Because the official shit that they say is so fucking hilarious, because I never used my home IP address. I had a giant Wi-Fi satellite dish that could reach up to a mile away. Okay, so I was usually using the Dairy Queen that was like a half a mile away.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted. So I over exaggerated that. It wasn't 20 miles. Obviously, Wi-Fi doesn't work that far. In advance,
So how far was that?
It was 1 mile. He had a Wi-Fi.
That's still pretty freaking decent.
That's still pretty insane. But
yeah,
he would connect into like free Wi-Fi from, restaurants and stuff
and
to be able to connect.
Pretty darn hard to hack.
Yeah.
Or track, I should say.
To track, yeah.
Had free Wi-Fi. So their bullshit answer of, oh, well, we pulled Twitter logs and he had his IP in there. Like, no, I didn't. I've never fucking used my home IP address on that Twitter account. Like, that's why I bought this. So I would never do that. I was so overkill on my OPSEC. It was a process. Like, literally, my hard drives for my desktops had to completely de-encrypt, which took like 30 to 40 minutes. And then I don't have like internal Wi-Fi cards in my laptops or anything. Like, I have to like connect it to stuff, so it's not like automatically connecting anything around me. Super paranoid, dude. Like, I mean, you kind of have to be. And then after that, I'm connecting through Tor nodes and my botnet. I think it was threefold. One, I know was a contributing factor, 100%.
Okay, so this is a big point that they make earlier on the screen. Earlier on the stream, they create this botnet, right? So they send out this virus that trolls the internet, and then they hijack all kinds of computers randomly.
Really? Hey, wow. How have I not heard of this? Like,
so and this is what I was talking about earlier, and that's the name of this stream. 1 click, $9 million in student debt erased. So the way that they get into the Oxford University student financial system or whatever is based off this botnet that they established in one of his earlier hacker groups, right? So essentially, they're creating their own supercomputer network. So they're hacking into all these other computers, and they're using all these other computers within the internet to
probably like even the military and the government, like
right. It was, and then initially though they didn't even know who was within the botnet that they established, and then so randomly he decided that he wanted to look into what computers they were actually utilizing within their botnet that they created, and then so he discovered, for one, they discovered the Oxford University. And so when he discovered that they had access to Oxford University is when he went into their servers and stuff, and then looked through all the student debt records. And then he was scrolling through it, and there was a delete all button. And he was like,
who wouldn't? I would.
And he was even saying, like, why the fuck is there even a delete all button available here?
Unless it was meant for me to come in and be here and press it, because nobody else ever would.
Right. So, of course, he clicks delete all. He said, I don't see how this is unethical. Like, why do these people have
apparently Biden's trying to do it right now for everything too. For everyone, isn't it?
So, and what he says earlier on this stream, he's like, well, I mean, why the fuck would they even put that button there? I had to click it, so I clicked it. So, yeah, he had this whole botnet to where, and then like he's saying, he was using his Wi-Fi satellite to go in through other Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fis within his area, never used his own IP. And then, so he was completely secure. There was no way anybody could ever hack back into him whatsoever. But he gets into why he got, how he gets fucked up.
From a mile using within a mile random Wi-Fi's like that as he drove around. That's
well, and then even what he's talking about too, he talks about how, like, to boot up his computer, like how the hard drives have to de-encrypt, so it would take like 40 minutes or so for the hard drive to encrypt before they would connect, and that comes up later on in the story.
Because, like, he told me, one of my friends, who I thought was my friend, and this is crazy, over a female, of course. What had happened was, I ended up hooking up with a girl, and I had asked him prior to this. I was like, do you mind, it's like, you dated her a while ago, whatever. Do you mind if I like hook up with her, talk to her, whatever? He said no. I was like, okay, well, I asked you. So like, speak now, forever hold your peace, bro, because I'm going to do it. And like, literally, like, you got mad at me. And I was like, why didn't you be a man and tell me like you still had feelings for her? Like, I would have respected that. And he's like, I don't know. And then like, so that kind of started it all. Like, I didn't know he had like ill intentions toward me. And so whatever, we moved past that. And then like the CWA thing happens, and we're drunk one night and we're on like Xbox Live or whatever. And then like I slip up for the first time ever, being fucking arrogant and cocky. It comes on the news, CIA director hacked, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that was us, blah, blah. I was like drunk talking and just totally like gave myself away. But I mean, I didn't think he would take me serious, I guess. Like, I don't know, I was drunk. But he did. And he actually reported me to the FBI. And then he told me that he reported me to the FBI. And I'm not going to name drop him, but he knows who he is. And that's some real scumbag stuff to do. Like, over that. Like, I just could never imagine. I would never do something like that to another person. I guess just, I don't know. So that's one prong. That's definitely maybe got them to look into me because of an anonymous tip. The other one is the person in our group that knows a snitch, but on what information was he able to collect about me? I don't know. He was always posting weird links in our chat, like a URL shortener. So like could have done some sketchy stuff with that. I really did never click.
Yo, this is important. This is really important to listen to what he's talking about here right now. And often people talk about, we make jokes about this, even in like our Discord and shit. There's even memes about it. I ain't clicking that shit, right? This is how easy it is. They can
right. Best advice from took down the CIA pretty much. Got caught over a girl, telling us right here what not to do. Best
right.
list.
And then we have particularly in our situation, we have like somebody like the Machine Lies berating us because we would kick him out of our Discord because we felt that there was something suspect there. Well, look, and not that we're doing anything that this guy's doing, but I'm just saying is that it's so the guy could just drop a fucking link in your Discord, you click on it, and then bam, they got everything they need to know. So just pay attention to what's
click on those. And the other one was Julian saying that the NSA got involved and me knowing that I got hacked.
Yeah, so when they gave John Brennan's SF-86 form to Julian Assange at WikiLeaks, this really angered the Department of Defense. And Julian somehow got word that the NSA was aiding in the investigation. So Julian told Default to be careful. Then one day, Default's computer started acting up. Something wasn't right. It was crashing and glitchy. And he looked at the network traffic and saw some connections to Langley, Virginia, where the CIA is based out of.
I knew I was hacked. My computer was acting crazy. Was having weird connections. Shut it off. I was like, fuck. And so like shut it off for a while. And like a couple of days go by, one day, and then the second day I turn it back on. After I get home from school and like start decrypting it, takes like 30, 40 minutes. Okay. But I noticed when I got home, there was a black van or a Suburban sitting across the street. And I didn't think anything of it. And also, now that I remember, very, very, very sketchy people had moved in across the street. This little house, and they just sat on the front porch smoking cigarettes, looking at my house nonstop. So like literally minutes after my desktop decrypting came online, they came in. Like, what are the chances of that? Like literally waited and waited. Usually they bum rush you like right when you get home, or you're in the house, or you're like somewhere they can confine you in a space. And what it is probably is they waited for that to come on and ping whatever remote controller they had, whatever server it was connecting back to verify that my desktop was unencrypted.
What happened? They knock on the door? Tell me about that incident.
No, dude, they definitely don't knock on the door.
Okay, what'd they do?
They definitely don't knock on the door, bro. They kick that shit in, they hit it in with a fucking ram, and all I heard was FBI search warrant. And
at your dad's house, right?
Yeah. And I just like, all I had to do was pull the plug. And they had submachine guns pointed at my face, and I like blacked out.
He had his computer set up in such a way that if he disconnected the power to it, it would re-encrypt his hard drive. He just needed to grab the cord and pull it. When you're sitting there at your computer with assault rifles pointed at you, don't think you're going to reach for that power cord. So at gunpoint, he had no choice but to let them
Start
seize the computer.
seizuring and then
They had it all.
take it out with your
And
foot.
I knew I was fucked. I was like, there's so much data on there, they're going to have a field day. They don't even know what they have yet, but I know. So I pretty much knew it was over at that point.
They pulled you out of.
Yeah, so
I totally would have seizured and freaking pulled the plug.
It's fucked up because he has he would screen record every time that he would hack into all this shit. So he actually, when they got into that hard drive, it actually
he had the most amount of incriminating evidence against him ever.
Yeah, shit they didn't even know about. Unfortunately, he screen recorded all of it because he would like to go back and watch it like a trophy and go back and watch.
Dude, you should have fucking had that as a dead man switch, and you should have freaking also seizured and kicked the cord to the fucking power, man.
Yeah, he fucked up.
That room, and someone else went in there to start taking your computer. I mean, you can't unplug it and take it. They know they've got
No,
to
they
collect
immediately
it.
hooked up something to flash copy my hard drive.
Yeah.
And Secret Service was there as well because I think someone hacked Donald Trump's website or some shit. We had no idea about, or they were they assume you're lying about everything. They're like, come on, you know about that. I'm like, I honestly literally have no idea what you're talking about. Why would I hack Donald Trump's website? I don't give a shit about Donald Trump's website, bro. But I guess Secret Service has got to get involved. So I'm sitting across from BJ Kang and some very stereotypical, tall, muscular Secret Service agent, boating down on me, asking me if I'm part of HTP and where's Nakash? And I'm like, dude, I don't know what you think this is. It's not going to go down like this. And I think they were doing a coordinated attack where they were raiding us all at the same time because they didn't want anyone to be able to notify each other.
It's true. Around the same time, Krakow was also raided by the police, but it turned out he was living in the UK and he was a high schooler. So they took defaults straight to jail. Police just weren't sure how dangerous he was and they didn't want to take chances. I think due to the nature of this, they likely did time it so that when his computer was online, that's when they would raid him and capture as much evidence as they could. How they knew his computer was online is a mystery to me still. Were they looking through the window? Did they hack into his computer and wait for it to signal out or something? His theory is that they did hack him. His computer was now in the hands of federal authorities, completely unlocked and decrypted. And, well, the stuff they found on there was clearly enough to convict him of many crimes. Screenshots that you had taken, Bandicam videos.
Oh, God, that was the dumbest thing I ever did.
But how did they get the videos if you never posted them?
Because, literally, like I said, I basically did all the heavy lifting for them because, I'm obsessive compulsive with, archiving data. Stuff that probably shouldn't be archived. Oh, I think it'll be cool to record me doing this crime, and I would look back on it later. And it'll be safe because it'll be on my encrypted hard drive. Well, what if your hard drive is not encrypted? And then now they have literal, irrefutable proof that you recorded yourself committing a crime that they would have no idea you had anything to do with.
There was one device in particular that he watched them take, and he knew what was on it. Something that was very important to him. So important that I just imagine, as he watches them walk off with it, that his world just goes quiet and almost becomes slow motion. But he couldn't say anything and just watch them take it because this was a secret.
One of the things they took from me was one of my external hard drives, which I wanted back very, very much so. What it was my Bitcoin wallet. I had a lot of Bitcoin on there, man, about almost 1,000 Bitcoin.
They had all the evidence they needed to convict him. He knew it. There was no way to get out of this. So he pleaded guilty. And the judge sentenced him to 5 years in prison. Was prison rock bottom for you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I got in trouble for exposing the prison that I was at and how they weren't adhering to any COVID policies. And it's open dorms. So it's if COVID gets in here from one of these guards, everyone's going to get COVID. People are going to die. And y'all are still
Oof. This is where it gets weird. He's cucking to COVID policies.
This part. We should skip this part.
I think it's really about so he tries, and I mean, I get it. He's a hacker. He's gonna exploit whatever loophole that he can.
It's
but
all about the viruses, so he's too afraid of the virus.
Net positive results and things that people can learn from this, that maybe they're not in prison or they're not going to prison or whatever, but they're at a low point in their life. And it's look, dude, it's not the end of the world. Literally, you can bounce back from anything. You can change your life. You can change. You decide who you want to be every single day. Just because you made some mistakes doesn't mean that determines who you are and what your character is as a person.
Something I keep thinking about while listening to this story is digital privacy. And I'm not going to go on another rant like I did in the last episode. But in this case, government officials were doxxed. These guys stole their information. They used it against them and then published it to WikiLeaks. How does someone come back from getting their private information published to WikiLeaks? I mean, I'm looking at John Brennan's SF-86 form right now. It's still there on WikiLeaks, and it's the very first hit on Google when you search for it. Everyone knows everything about him. It seems like anyone should just be able to do a password reset on him, you know? I mean, you could impersonate him over the phone because you have all his information. You can essentially be him, the director of the CIA, because we all have all his information. It's possible for someone to get a new social security number. It's not easy. You really have to prove to the Social Security office that you're in danger. And I bet government officials at this level might be able to skate through that whole process easier. And I think it's easy enough to get a new phone number and email address. It's not so easy to just up and move to a new house, though, but that's doable. It's possible to change your name, too, but what's the point of that when you're a public figure? And that doesn't fix any of the problems of knowing all your previous addresses and who your neighbors were, your past employers, your friends, date of birth, hometown, height, eye color. See, I think with all the doxing going on in the world, I wish there was a simple way to just burn your identity and start fresh. Hell, I'd even be interested in doing it yearly myself, just to always keep distance from whoever might be trying to track me out there. And everyone is trying to track us. I wish I knew what John Brennan did to recover from this. I didn't reach out to him because I assume he wouldn't want to talk about it because it would just be giving away more of his private information. But I feel like we need a better system to help us, the regular people out there, when we get in this situation. Private information is not a thing of the past. We still need our privacy. But I think what might help is just better tools to stay private in general. You want my address? Oh, sorry, I only give out my proxy address. A post box that receives mail for me, opens the letters, and then sends me pictures of those letters. You want my phone number? Oh, sorry, I only give out burner phone numbers. You want my social security number? No, I don't give that out to anyone. Oh, what? It's for my security clearance? Sorry, that's not even a safe place to give it. Didn't you hear about what happened to John Brennan? These pieces of information on us are important that they remain out of the public view. Yet time and time again, they get into the public view. And it's not just from doxing, data breaches, companies sharing your data, or you just giving your information to the wrong people. I mean, for instance, I had to give my social security number to buy Bitcoin. And now the CEO of that company that I gave my social to is in prison. So who knows where my data went? So I think we're way overdue for a better system to protect our most important data. I think we need to stop giving it out to just anyone who asks for it. I mean, I was at the store buying bananas the other day, and they were asking for my phone number and my zip code and all this stuff. I think there needs to be fewer situations where we need to provide it. I think we need to be less reliant on our private information as a way to authenticate it's really us. And I think we need a way to recover from situations where it's been completely exposed, which I think with the Equifax breach, most of us Americans have had our private data completely exposed anyway. I think this is a problem that needs to be solved. Well, I think some solutions are out there. It's piecemeal and complicated. I don't see anyone doing it holistically right now. Something that still rattles around in my head from this story. That hard drive that the feds took, it still has his Bitcoin wallet on it. The feds never got access to that Bitcoin. It's still sitting there untouched. And they still have that hard drive and won't give it back. And the reason they kept it is because it has evidence on it. Data that he stole from various places. He asked them, just take what you want off it and give me back the drive. But they refused. 1,000 Bitcoin still sits on that hard drive. 1,000 Bitcoin today is worth $25 million. Just imagine $25 million sitting in some storage locker in a federal building. And the feds have no idea it's there. So it sits for years.
And sold it. That Bitcoin's no longer on that hard drive, especially with the fact that they keep talking about it. The U.S. government, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, they've all been known to take
somebody's taking that out there.
And they dump it on the market. They manipulate the overall crypto market. It's a currency war between them and China a lot of the time, as well as Russia and Iran using it to avoid sanctions with a lot of it, right? It's like Binance is basically Chinese owned. And even though the owner-founder is actually like a Canadian citizen and it's like founded it out of Canada, like Canada has now blocked Binance. You can't even use it in Canada because it's an Asian currency platform, essentially.
I would say if there was any if this default character is legitimate and his story is true.
Yeah,
probably the only reason they raided him was to get that Bitcoin wallet.
No, God, no. They fuck. He was fucking with Brennan and the top brass. Like this guy was definitely, and the FBI, right? He was probably on the FBI's most wanted list.
It seems like they don't care about that. They left all that information on the internet. And you can still look up it today.
Yeah, we already shared it here. Like they'll share it again once this.
They don't care. They don't care about that.
Yeah, so it is legitimate. It seems like this is legit and true. Like you said, the information is on WikiLeaks. Like Assange, the thing is like they try to take down WikiLeaks, but they can't really take it down without like taking down the whole internet. So it's like once you
it's like Pirate Bay. They can't take down Pirate Bay.
Yeah, right. So it's like once it's there forever. And that's why we can show it here and that it's actually there. But that's also why they have Julian Assange freaking held in jail to this day. Like,
right.
Freaking kill him for this.
Well, and there's a bunch of suspicious things. Like this guy was in direct communication with Assange and all this kind of stuff, which is kind of weird, I think, as well.
You have to be when you're giving them secure information.
Right. Yeah, I would think so. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that makes you question about who necessarily is Julian Assange. Is he kind of like a Pied Piper in these communities where he's like attracting people to
free Julian Assange is all you have to say, because he's literally in jail freaking suffering because of this shit, because he's given a platform for leakers to leak this information to. And
or is the platform just a honeypot for people that have leaked information?
Yeah, it could be as well. Yeah. Well, it seems like it, like he says, it wasn't Assange that freaking dimed him out. It was this dude over a girl. Right?
Well, and that's just what he thinks, though. That might not even be. That might not even be true. That might not even be actually how they.
That's what the guy told him straight up to him.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm being critical and skeptical at the same time. But as far as I know, the whole story, listening to the whole thing, I felt like it was. This was one of the greatest podcasts that I've listened to in the last while. Like it's so much information in here, stuff that I didn't know about, stuff that blew my mind. And this channel, and I think I leaked it in the chat earlier, but this whole Darknet Diaries series is fantastic, especially if anybody came up on NPR, because this is done exactly like an NPR podcast or whatever, which might also be kind of like a tip off maybe as well as like how well these podcasts are produced, but who knows? I think it's a legit story. I think it's a legit story. Most people, I hadn't heard about it until this podcast. I had no idea.
On WikiLeaks.
There you go. That's John Brennan's personal information right there on WikiLeaks.
I'm stoked you're playing it and sharing this. Like I hadn't heard of it. Right, yeah. So I'm going to do an episode with Jeremy Reese, alien scientist, on this. See what he knows about this. We're going to look into it, and we're going to go deeper into WikiLeaks, and we're going to see if John Brennan's information, and we're going to call him live on air, and we're going to interrogate him about the laptop from hell and why he lied and claimed.
Bro, you should get default. Default would probably do an interview with you.
That is, I want to bring him and Gary McKinnon together, the two most.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like this has to happen. And Gary McKinnon, if you're watching, my friend, we're going to be doing episode number 3 together this weekend, I believe.
Awesome, great.
Got an email. Right, he's part of the Real Science crew. It's crazy, and the APEC team. He's a freaking next level genius. The man. Anyways, awesome. But yeah, back to. We're finishing the last of that, or is that done?
Let's see. Let's see what's up. Oh, hold up, my bad.
After this, where's Drew been? I got a couple. He bought a couple of like Canadian clothing pieces. I guess got them sent to my place, and then it's like I got to get a hold of him. Talk to him because I'm going to give him a few of my shirts, repackage it with his packages of his other clothing he bought, and ship it out to him.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's got a PO box. He did mention to me that you bought some stuff. I think off his designs off of.
No, he ordered something and got it sent to my place. I got to ship it to him now from Canada.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm gonna like throw in a couple of my designs as well with it.
Oh, dope. chalkbodyoutline@gmail.com is his email. So if you
way to dox the man's email. Yes, I am in email contact with.
well, I mean,
why has he not been hasn't done any main shows lately?
The dude's busy. He's got multiple kids.
Yeah, right.
He's working.
Potentially,
He's got a 20-something-year-old wife keeping him busy. So I mean, like,
fair.
The guy's busy. The guy's busy. I'm not gonna hate on him. He was hating on me when I had my 2 newer kids, and like I would dip out of streams and
family obligations are a real thing, and I can completely understand that.
So that's where he's at, and also he's kind of just like he's kind of over all the fucking YouTube shit. I mean, who can blame him, right? Like, yeah, there we go. TV's right. YouTube sucks. Can't blame him for not being around. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, it's
tough streets, and Christmas. It's the holiday season. Got to do family things.
It is what it is. It is what it is. We're going to bring it around. I thought tonight was good. We covered some information that people didn't know about.
Like, man, fucking what a joke, John Brennan. I already had zero respect for the coward / hypocrite / lying savage, and now to know that the next level, this guy should be tried and in jail. Like,
and then right, well, and then just like how ridiculous is the security within? I mean, that should some kids in high school be able to hack the CIA director's email password and shit? Come on, people.
They did.
This is retarded. So
it truly is.
Bernie, it's almost 3:30 a.m. here in the morning. I need to get up at 6:30 in the morning. I believe that's
you need to get your butt to bed then. Get that holy trilogy of 3 hours and then to work, good sir.
I do appreciate you joining tonight, as always. I appreciate you being here.
And great content, great story, and appreciate you. And I would like to pursue further, potentially starting a tool review channel with you, partnership. We could both get free time in the lab, make a channel just about it.
Oh yeah,
and you can spam the shit out of a whole bunch of shorts for us. We'll get
Oh damn! Yeah, you haven't seen my electronics bench yet, I don't think.
I've seen 1 or 2 of your streams from
my
shop, but I'm not sure.
I've got a whole bunch of new shit on my electronics bench, so yeah. And Bernie, I'm terrible with responding to people, whether it's email or Instagram. Don't take that personally.
I never do.
Definitely. I do look forward to
We'll catch up when we catch up.
We will catch up when we catch up, 100%, sir.
Much love. Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to end them on my channels right now, and then I probably should just cover some emails, but I might do a little recording or a little live on some alchemy stuff. I got to do some alchemy chores with my electrolysis stuff, like the colloidal silver. I got to collect the colloidal silver, monatomic silver. So I might do that tonight still. I don't know. Probably should go to bed. Anyway.
Well, shout out to you. Shout out to your audience. Thanks for coming by. We always appreciate you. I'm going to kick you off the stream.
Perfect.
Love you, sir. That's right, guys.